Hello everyone and welcome to today's HJ Goes Live session on the secret to self-care and positivity as a hairdresser. And today we're joined by Louis Byrne, who has started an empowerment movement for hairdressers called I Can, I Am and I Will. And he's going to be sharing some insights with us today on how to look after yourself and create a positive mindset by resetting both your thoughts and your feelings. So good morning to you, Louis. It's great to have you with us today.
Morning. Hi, how are you?
Oh, very well, thank you. We were just talking about what a gorgeous sunny day it is today, weren't we? And that lifts everyone's spirits automatically.
Yeah, and how you're glowing.
Oh, thank
That's
you.
what we were talking about. You've got some sunshine.
Sunshine, definitely. Puts a smile on all of our faces. Well, and it's a perfect day to be talking about this, really, isn't it, Louis? Because we have got a bit of sunshine. Do you want to maybe just tell us a little bit about yourself and how the I Can, I Am, and I Will idea came about?
Yes, sure. Yeah, I'm Louis Byrne. I work as a hairdresser that does celebrities' hair these days. Before that, I was salon-based for many, many years before, and I also kind of worked in the fashion industry with Sam McKnight, and then the music industry with Ellie Goulding. But it got to a point in my career where what was lacking was my self-care, I guess, and my well-being, and it got to a point where I kind of really hit a point where I needed to make some massive changes to kind of how I was living and what I was doing to myself. Really, there was lots of history and lots of childhood trauma and sexual identity. My whole self, like I didn't really know who I was, and I didn't really know how to deal with that. And then that on top of kind of substance, alcohol, kind of lack of sleep, general kind of ways of blocking and avoiding what I needed to kind of really deal with, which was kind of get to know myself and who and what I was, really. So that kind of all came to a bit of a head, really. I ended up losing my job with Ellie back in probably 2016, 2017. At the same time, I had a marriage breakdown. Found my aunt died, who I lived with, and kind of who introduced me to hairdressing at the age of 5. Really, that was something that we used to do to kind of connect, and it's now my job, and I thrive and love the industry that we have and that I work in. So it got to a point where I kind of really needed to make a change to what was going on in my life. And I ended up actually breaking my leg. I was in Las Vegas at my cousin's wedding, and I just stepped down off the step and my leg just shattered underneath me. That was a bit of a calling sign for me, really, to realize that actually, my body doing that through just stepping was telling me, you need to sort yourself out, mate. So I got home, and as part of my process of recovery from my leg, because obviously that was a good few months recovery, I made a promise to myself to kind of really clean up my act.
During that recovery, or I'm guessing.
Yeah, the day after my surgery, actually, was the last ever final of Big Brother. So that was with Emma Willis, who I work with. So I was at work the very day after my leg was pinned and plated, being wheeled around on like a wheelie stool, and doing that TV show. And actually, I became busier than I'd been in a long time during my recovery. And it was almost like I was being given work and being given something to do and being given a challenge and a goal to get myself through what I needed to get through. And that's the beauty of our work and what we do. It means we're always surrounded by people. We have a community, we give care, we receive care back. But I really felt like, I couldn't really look after my clients properly until I started to look after myself properly. And that's when the shift kind of changed in my career and what I was doing. You know, I kind of lived, and I lived a reality that wasn't really present for quite a long time because of everything that I was trying to avoid that was going on inside my head, and then what I was doing to myself at the same time. You know, I wasn't really present. And after, even if it's just
weren't mentally there,
yeah, and you're on a constant cycle of like going out at the weekends, which would then stretch into the week, which would then, you know, then you're recovering after you've been out, and then you're going back out again, and you know, it's a constant cycle. And I've been doing that since I was 13, probably, you know, for a very long time. And then I got to being in my not 40s, 30s. I've only 10 years on there. And you know, that's a big time of growing up where you kind of change massively, and you need to get to know yourself. So I can, I am, and I will was kind of an affirmation that came to me. Really, it was just something where in a real dark day, actually, the words came to me, and it was like the positivity of the words, and the sentence really gave me something to drive me forward, to be able to kind of deal with what I needed to deal with. So the first part, what I wanted to do and what I needed to do was actually connect and communicate with people, because after, you know, if you've been down or kind of sort of had any issues with abuse or anything, substance abuse and stuff like that, you know, what you find is you isolate yourself and you take yourself away from people, and then you're not connected, and you feel even more lonely, and you feel kind of resentful and shame and regret and fear, you know, and it's those underlying kind of feelings that are the things that really affect you and get you. They're like the silent killers of every situation. You can kind of do something bad or good, but it's then the after feelings that stay with you, and the thoughts in your head that, you know, you regret and you fear and you're shameful. So the first part of I Can I Am No Well movement was to collaborate with people, which allowed me to connect with people and to connect with a community. So I would go out and I would street cast. We've shot in London, Lisbon, and Ibiza so far, and really what I found, because I was living in a positive, uplifted reality of trying to discover and trying to meet people and trying to connect with people. People were receptive, and they were open. And then as I started to share my experience and my journey and my story, and be really honest, you know, be really honest about what was going on, people would do the same. And I found a real need and want for honesty and for people to be able to share their stories. So the collaborations started, and yeah, we've had some amazing collaborations so far, and really, really powerful stories of people that have kind of been through something, come out the other side, and have grown and changed and adapted their lives to how they need to adapt it, or just generally achieving and surviving and thriving in what they're doing, you know.
It's incredible, isn't it? I mean, the fact you've been able to build those deep-rooted connections by sharing your own story.
Yes, yeah, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. I think what I learned from growing up is that I didn't learn this until later on, like that I had the option to train my mindset and my thought process, and what I think off the cuff straight away isn't necessarily what is going on or the reality, you know. So I kind of learned to sort of take myself and step back and get a bit of perspective and look at the situation. And everybody has their own reality. That's the thing, and we can kind of build ours up in ourselves to being the one and only reality that is real, but it's completely different for everybody else. And I think that was a big turning point in my sort of way of being as well, to appreciate that everybody has got something going on, and that was really highlighted by people's stories and collaborations within I Can, I Am, and I Will.
And that's crucial actually, Lou, isn't it? Because obviously your story is very unique to you, but with COVID
Yeah.
and everyone going through that shared experience, there's probably a lot of people that are tuning in, whether it's live or later on when it's pre-recorded, thinking I've got my own challenges and my own issues and I want to be able to overcome them.
Yeah.
That really take something from your movement.
Well, this is it. Like, I guess I use I Can, I Am, and I Will as a kind of a vehicle, really, and a bit of a tool to be able to give me, that's my affirmation. It means something to me. It will mean something different to everybody else. But to kind of use it as a tool to kind of have a little bit of introspection, to go inside, look at yourself, kind of be really honest with yourself as well. You know, that's something that I think by the work that I've done, looking at psychology and looking at the brain and kind of trying to work my shit out, basically, you know, it's so interesting, and we all have different stuff going on, and it can be changed. You know, it's a muscle. The brain is a muscle. We can build it, we can develop it, we can kind of step back. But what it also does is it kind of has a protection on us as well, you know, and that those thoughts that we might go to instantly are there to kind of protect us, because we know it. Our body knows that way of being. So to actually step back and maybe kind of try something new and try something different is a way of growth.
Definitely. And the I Can, I Am, and I Will empowerment movement, on a day-to-day basis, somebody tuning in who's a hairdresser and wants to apply this into their daily ritual or routine, what would you suggest, Louis?
How they can get involved with I Can, I Am, and I Will, and how
they can sort of change their mindset into this more positive mindset that we've been talking about.
Yeah. So I've actually been working on a reset plan. So the I Can, I Am, and I Will reset plan is a combination of different kind of techniques and practices that I've been learning over the past 3-4 years, as a way to kind of make myself feel better and kind of really connect deeper with myself, and get to know who I am, what I am, and how I work as like I think we get to a certain age, and you know, when we're young, it's all like we're looked after, and then it's like go for it. But actually, you know, we need to function, and there are certain ways that we can function better, and there are certain ways that are going to harm us, and you know, we have to look after ourselves. So anyway, the reset plan you go through, it's a stepped process. So the first phase is about thinking, the second phase is about feeling, and the third phase is about doing. During those processes, you go through different techniques, and you kind of work out your character strengths, your positive choices, your emotions. You do savoring, we do gratitude, amongst other things. And because it's done over an amount of time, you're kind of building routine and habits, and you're putting yourself into kind of that positive bracket and that positive energy where you're really kind of doing something for yourself, which is really important. And then, you know, just to agree, to have a personal agreement that you're going to do this for yourself, and then the completion of doing it, the satisfaction of doing something for yourself, you know, in such a busy, I went back to work obviously after the pandemic, and recently I've just had a big, massive 9-day job. And from having a year and a half not really doing that much to then wham straight back in the middle of this 9.5 job, and I was 6 in the morning till 10 at night, for in the studio for those days, and it was a great job. It was fantastic, and it was so nice to be working. But oh my god, it was exhausting. Like, it's taken me a week to get over it, like, from it. And what I realized is, like, having the calmed pace of life of COVID and being able to exercise when I wanted, like, do what I want. I can look after myself in that way, but then put work back into the mix of it, and it's like, oh god, here we go again. Like, so all of these things that are in the plan and the steps and the techniques are really designed to kind of center and kind of get to know ourselves.
Which is brilliant. We've had a lovely comment, Louis, from Julie. She's tuning in live from sunny Cornwall. Very jealous.
Nice.
And she says that this is what the pandemic has done for her. So last year she did a Lion's Den Barber Collective course, which was around mental health and wellbeing.
Yeah, I've done that too.
And she says she's now a member of the Lion's Den and has a certificate and a badge to wear, which is pinned onto her.
Great.
She wears, and it's to show that she supports mental wellbeing for her clients as well, which is key, isn't it? I mean, that's the key point, isn't it, Louis? It's that as a hairdresser, you're there to look after your clients, but also you do have to look after yourself as well. So do you have any tips for how hairdressers can look after themselves so they can look after their clients, if you see what I mean?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'd like to talk about that briefly as well, because, you know, I think being able to look after ourselves and put ourselves in the best place that we can possibly be, in the best mindset and the best way of being, to make ourselves as happy as possible, in turn is going to really affect our clients. You know, is going to attract clients. Is going to attract a certain type of client. If you're a stylist that's negative all the time and tired, and because you're negative and you're tired, you may be lazy, or, you know, you're just not feeling your job, you're going to attract the clients
that have a moan all the time, and you have a moan
that want to have a moan all the time. You know, it's the rules of attraction. You know, we attract to a certain extent what we are. So for me, you know, I personally felt when I started to improve myself and to kind of look after myself, my job and my career really went off onto another level. And, you know, I'm here today talking to you about all these things, and I've done lots of very exciting things from investing in myself and my self-care. So you know, take time for yourself. We did with I Can, I Am, and I Will, I did a campaign called Breathe, Break, Boost and Believe. So the 4 B's. So, you know, it's about really looking at yourself and having fun, enjoyment, taking time, but knowing, you know, at the end of the day, we all want to have a sense of purpose. Really, I think that's what gives me satisfaction, to know that I've done something and I've done something really well. I think when you're putting half measures into something, you know yourself that you're putting half measures into it. So not only have you done a job that's half measure, but you're feeling shit from it as well, because you know you haven't given it your all. You know, so if you're going to do something, do it. If you've got too much on your plate and you haven't got time to do it all, knock something off. Like, don't do something.
That's very true, Louis. And I guess if you know you've got a long day in the salon, making sure you get that early night the night before, so you're not grumpy with your clients, all that kind of thing.
And how you're fueling yourself as well. You know, I think my attitude towards food and things had to change as well. You know, because I would love dirty food and a takeaway, and, you know, just I love it. Like,
it feels good while you're doing it, doesn't it? Yeah. You know, dirty fries, they're delicious while you're eating them, but maybe not afterwards.
But I can guarantee if I mentally am feeling kind of depressed or down or a bit miserable, because yes, I've got I Can, I Am, and I Will empowerment movement, you know, but I still work on myself daily. It's not as if it's a magic wand and then everything, and all the work that I've done is everything's, you know, life has situations we go through, and it's about putting ourselves into the best position possible to deal with those situations. You know, you can't change that those situations are going to happen, because that's out of our control.
No,
but it's
and not
how
every
we come
day
out of the
is
other
the same,
side.
is it, Louis? Like, you're going to have
Yeah,
bad days.
you're gonna have bad days, but when I'm generally moody or depressed, I look at my diet and it will be full of sugar, and that's a big thing. So
So you get like
trying to
that
kind
quick
of
high
like,
and that bad low
yeah,
afterwards. Yeah.
work out kind of how you're fueling yourself and find something that works, because obviously when we're on busy days, it's easy to grab snack,
Yeah.
you
Or
know,
not,
highs and
yeah,
lows,
or not to eat at all, which is not good
or
either.
not to eat at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that is also, that's also a big thing, you know, when you're not eating and you're not fueling your body, it affects your mind process, your thought process, your judgment, your self-esteem, you know, it affects everything. And I've seen that, and that is the other scale of it as well, you know. So I think it's important that if people do see people that are kind of in that situation, that we try and help out as well.
Definitely. Do you have any advice for hairdressers that kind of struggle to tap into their feelings and emotions? So they're trying to sort of change their mindset, but they're
Yeah.
struggling to maybe confront their demons or whatever that might be.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things that, you know, seems the hardest thing in the world to do before you kind of embark and tackle and take it on. But then actually, once you've done it, you realize kind of, oh, it's simple, but it's not easy, you know. Stuff like tracking your emotions, so trying to really think about how you're feeling and what you're feeling, and write it out, and savoring, you know, learn the art of savoring, of really enjoying something and making the most out of what you've done and why you've done it. That's, I find savoring a really hard one, particularly for hairdressers, because the model of hairdressing salon is bosh, 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 bosh,
Yeah.
out you go, isn't it? You know,
every second of the day is planned out, isn't it?
every second of the day is planned out. You know, people want to earn as much money as possible, but that doesn't necessarily bring joy and happiness. Self-care, like, take some time to give yourself some self-care. Go out, walk, connect with music, listen, you know, take things on board.
Is it about trying to engage with your thoughts as well, and listen to what you're?
Yeah. Journaling was a big thing for me, actually. Get yourself a journal, and just write little bits each day. When I was in my darkest days, because I kind of pretty much had a breakdown, really, sort of around 2016, 2017. And I started to write, and just, you know, I am the world's biggest dyslexic. Like, to even have put like I can, am, and I will together, and the plan and everything, and all the kind of work that I've done and the studying that I've done over the past 2 years, to me, blows my mind, you know, because school, forget it. Like, it wasn't for me. Like, I didn't connect with that environment at all. It wasn't a place where I felt comfortable. Hairdressing college, yes, loved it. And actually, I was always the first one, like, yeah, I'll do that. But to write and to be okay with, you know, just writing your shit. Sorry, I'm really sorry to keep on swearing. It's because I'm at home. I feel really relaxed and comfortable.
I feel like I should do the big brother thing, you know.
I was stop. Journaling was actually really important for me to be able to get out what was inside my head and what I was feeling, and then to kind of go back and look over it. You really get to see your level of perception, and what you were thinking at that time. And, you know, that's when you can kind of really start to see, actually, yeah, you know, I wasn't right there, or I was right there, or, you know, my thought process and my mindset was off there. And I can see, because you need to start taking an honest look at yourself, you know. We're very good at defending and protecting ourselves.
That's a great tip, actually, Louis, because there are probably a lot of people tuning in, if you are able to tune in live or watching back, that are struggling at the moment because we've gone from
Yeah,
a deep lockdown to long
yeah,
days in the salon or doing
yeah,
shoots, whatever part of the industry you're in. And to actually journal and write that down, to look at it in a year's time when hopefully then we're back to
yeah,
something of normal and you've overcome that, would feel quite rewarding, wouldn't it?
totally. And like, through me doing I can, I am, and I will for myself, and putting it out there on my social media, and collaborating with people, I built a whole new extra client set from that, and people with extraordinary people with extraordinary stories, that now come to see me for a haircut. So going back to kind of you asking how people can connect with it, I think it's a thing where if you know, start to do it yourself and put it out there, you know, clients want to come to that person that's giving the extra and putting the extra time in on themselves. You know, it's great for people to see that you're kind of, you care for yourself, you know.
And
The
I guess
opposite of
you care for
self-care is
yourself,
self-abuse.
you'll care for them as well, like they'll see that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then it trickles through, because everybody needs a little bit of help, you know. And we are in a really unique position being a hairdresser, because we get our clients in front of us in our chair pretty much with complete trust. They completely open up to us. For some reason, doing somebody's hair allows them to open up, right? You kind of, you get an insight to that person that perhaps not even, you know, their friends or family get, you know. You find a person, an element of that person inside that wants to be something, do something, come at, like they want, and they feel powerful in the chair and with their new hair when you're doing it. So, you know, to add that extra level of self-care and well-being in with it, and then they can go and spread it and share it, you know, how amazing is that? Like, just like a infectious kind of like positivity. Kind of exactly. Yeah.
And your tips for self-care, you can pass that on to the clients as well.
Yeah. And just language and conversation as well, you know. Like, we're having a conversation with certain positive language in right now, you know. That's very different to how we would have had a conversation a couple of years back, you know. So to be able to kind of continue a conversation that really has an important, positive, connective, you know, loving language is really important, because language is so important.
That's a great point, Lou, isn't it? You're going to have a smile on your face when you're talking about stuff like this and looking after yourself, whereas if you're doing a client consultation where it's all doom and gloom and misery, and, you know, it's gonna
it's gonna be very tough. It's gonna be tough, because people are suffering and they're miserable, and as much as, you know, we're getting back to some kind of normality, now is the implications of being locked away for a year and a half, you know, of maybe losing your job, losing your house, you know, things just generally being different. But we also have to accept that that's the case as well, because it is the case, and be realistic about it, and then, you know, do stuff like this.
Definitely. Do you have any advice for those that are working with clients day in, day out? And maybe some clients are, like we were talking about, they often are quite open. And if they're sharing quite negative thoughts or negative issues, how you as a hairdresser can decompress from that afterwards as part of the empowerment movement, to just take a breather and think, no, I've taken that in, but I'm not going to let it affect me and my well-being.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if what they're talking about and the situations they're talking about are serious, then, you know, it's important to recommend the correct avenues for them to kind of go down, and you know, and to realize that you're not a therapist as well, and to, they should get professional help. But definitely to step back, as you say, step back, take yourself out for a walk, let it go. Kind of, I think the worst thing to do is to, drown it out with alcohol, or kind of not acknowledge it. Acknowledge it, maybe even write it down, like put it in a diary, but then kind of step away from it and move away, and recommend help if they need that.
Most definitely, Louis. And I have to, we spoke about this before we came on live, and you can see the Damien Hirst heart behind you, which is amazing, isn't it? And
yeah.
It is Pride Month, Louis. So as part of your empowerment movement, could you maybe share your advice or your words of wisdom about being an inclusive hairdresser who, is open to anyone and everyone and shows that everyone is welcome?
Yeah, I think this is something that we, as an industry in general, kind of do very well. Actually, we kind of lead in those stakes. And as a young man that was struggling with his sexual identity myself, going and working and training, still not out at that point when I was training. I didn't come out until I was in like 21. But being in the hairdressing industry as somebody that was struggling with their sexual identity, it's a wonderful place to be. It's a really inclusive, creative kind of place where you can discover yourself and you can kind of be connected with people. So actually, that's one thing we do that very, very well. And I think for salons to show that they employ people from all different spectrum is really important. My hairdressing and how I work is pretty genderless, actually. I try, I don't do male or female haircuts, really. I charge the same price for my haircut on whichever sex that's in my chair. And yeah, just be open and as inclusive as possible, and kind of nurture the young ones as well. Like really show them the way through. If you are in a salon or a salon owner, that's really important to make people feel safe and welcome.
Definitely. We've had a comment there, and it'd be interesting to get your take on it, actually. She says that she believes you should see yourself as an actor and being on like a stage when you're with clients in the salon, and forget what's going on at home and with yourself, and just be in the spotlight when you're at work. Where does that fit in with your philosophy, with your empowerment movement? Do you agree with that? Do you have a different way of? Because I've heard that quite a few times. This whole, you're an actor on a stage while you're with clients.
Yeah, I've heard that before as well, and I've worked in salons where they adopt that. That is a certain way of. I can't remember whose training model that is, but it's a certain thing that we get taught. And yeah, that's fair enough. But and if that works for you, then that's fantastic. And yes, when you go out onto the salon floor, it is a bit of a stage, and you're in front of a mirror, and you need to deliver a service. I connect with my clients with honesty and experience, really. So I would never criticize that way of being and that method. And if that works for you, then that's great. But what I found more important for me, as well as my client, is being truthful and honest, and actually, dealing with my situations, and then being able to talk about them, because your clients are humans and people too, and they have situations that they would like to talk about. So for me, that's how I connect. I'm sure everybody is different, and we are all different.
Definitely. But that is interesting, isn't it? Because you can see it from both sides. Yeah,
totally. Because you don't want, people on the floor of a hairdressing salon just being down and miserable and negative all the time to the clients. And that's where I get that, that it's a stage, and it's you're in the spotlight, so you should be delivering your best self. for me to be able to deliver my best self, that comes from my self-care, my well-being, my, you know, self-understanding, being consciously connected to who I am and what's important to me.
And actually, maybe that's the crux of it, Louis. It's that, you know, being on the stage is a little bit like faking it until you make it. But your empowerment movement is about, you don't need to fake it because you've done all that work on yourself. So you don't need to. If
you kind of take the time and just explore yourself, you know, just take some time and explore yourself, you're going to be really surprised.
You'll be feeling positive, so you won't need
You're going to be feeling positive. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, because then you're going to deliver and you're going to be up and you're going to be charged. And actually, you know, positivity and happiness is going to make you more successful.
100%. Do you want to tell us a little bit about you? We touched on it a little bit earlier, the reset plan. And we've talked a lot about the empowerment movement. If anyone's kind of really intrigued and wants to give this a go, how can they do that, Louis?
So I believe we're going to put a link in the comments, aren't we, at some point? Yes, a link where you can connect.
What's the website, Louis?
So if you go to, it's icanIamandIwill.com.
icanIamandIwill.com.
Yeah. And then once you're on the main website, there is a section where you can go and click onto the reset plan.
Brilliant.
And then on that page, it gives you a brief description of what the plan does and how it works. And then on at the bottom of that page, there's a link where you can click to register your interest. And if you want to click and register your interest and leave your name and details at that website, at that web address, then once we're launching the plan, it's going to be, we're going to do a mail out to everybody and we're going to get active. It's going to be launching probably around August time. I know you keep this is the second like you keep on trying to get a date out of me. Not quite sure.
Everyone's looking at this, they want to know how they can start getting this positive mindset and everything.
Yeah, do you know what?
It's a little bit longer, guys.
Yeah, no, it's almost there. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get a crew of people together, which I've had lots of interest so far. And then the first one we're going to do as an experience together, because there's like a community hub via Facebook where you can go and share and chat and kind of share your experiences, because it's about connecting with people as well and sharing. You know, that's
building that community, isn't it? That's
building the community. Yeah. And that was one of the biggest things in my journey of recovery and self-discovery, is sharing experiences and connecting with people and taking away that self and kind of being able to really connect in with other people. But it's kind of like in the next couple of months it is coming. It's almost there. It's right on track. So yeah, just bear with.
That's super exciting, Louis. And in the meantime, if people want to kind of get into this positive mindset before that, how can they sort of touch base with you or just kind of take in some of your positivity?
Yeah, so you can always touch base with me on my Instagram, which is Louis Byrne, ITIAIW. We also have a YouTube channel. So again, if you go onto the website, scroll down to the bottom, there's a YouTube link that will take you directly to the I Can I Am and I Will YouTube channel, where there's the video content from the previous collaborators that I've worked with, people from Lara Brash, who's a trans activist, to Princess Julia, who's a fashion icon, the East London DJ, Emma Willis, obviously TV presenter, Vicky McClure, AJ Adudu, Kyle Duvall, who's LGBTQIA activist, Ben West, who is a teenage mental health activist. He lost his brother through suicide, and set up a charity and a walk to kind of deal with that. Hazel Gardner, who's a cancer survivor, Titty Gritty, who's a breast cancer survivor. So real people with real stories. So
become known and they're sort of sharing that
Yeah,
positivity.
yeah, and they all give they all take an introspective look and give me their answer to I can, I am, and I will, and what that means to them, and yeah, that's what they do. We've also got I also do a radio show as well with Islington Radio, which is called I Can, I Am, and I Will Motivation Disco. And on the show, we connect music with feeling and well-being. And I have a guest on each show, and they give me the 5 songs that shape their life, and then we talk about each song and the feeling and the emotion and the situation around that song. And that was something that I did towards the end of lockdown, because obviously being a hairdresser, I love to talk and connect with my clients. Having no salon situation and no client situation, you know, I really missed it. So it's like, and music is a huge part of my life. Another tip for me for when I'm feeling a certain way, I put music on and it can really elevate myself out of that situation. I use it to run with, I use it to walk with, you know, I spend a lot of time with music. So to do the radio show was really great. We've had Matt Willis on so far, Lauren Mahon, who's Girl versus Cancer, Mark Hayes is our newest one. We have Sam McKnight is on, Gail Porter. We've got some really great people that have interesting stories, and you know, that's what we do as hairdressers as well. We take on stories and we connect. So you know, it's all part of it.
That's well worth a listen. So that's Islington Radio, and I'm sure you could probably find that online, I'd have thought.
Yes, yeah, Motivation Disco, Islington Radio.
Oh, amazing. Well, while we're all super excited for the reset plan, which will be coming in August, do you have 2 or 3 things that people can start to incorporate into their daily lives to try and get this positive mindset and take on board the empowerment movement in the meantime?
Yes.
Listen to upbeat music. That's a great tip.
Listen to upbeat music. Try and take yourself out for a walk every day. You know, move, get active, get the blood pumping, because you're really surprised like how that makes you feel. And go to bed in a positive headspace. So, you know, just think of what you're thankful for of that day, you know, and go to bed at night talking to yourself nicely in a positive mindset and what you're thankful for from that day. And actually that makes a massive difference as well, because you're going to bed, you know, yes, we're asleep, but you know, we're still here, you know.
You don't want to be having nightmares from something that's happened.
No. And actually, sleep meditation music, because I know a lot of people have I've been hearing a lot of people are suffering from like sleep, obviously because of stress and anxiety. You know, a really nice thing that I heard the other day was like, if you're stressed, you're living in the past. If you're anxious, you're living in the future. If you're okay, you're in the present. So, you know, it's really hard to get out of either one of those. You know, just take it day by day. It's going to be fine. Like most of us are still here, and you know, obviously we've been through something crazy, but you know, day by day, step by step.
That's such great advice, Louis. And we did talk about journaling earlier on, so I guess you could, if you wanted to, a gratitude journal before you go to bed.
Absolutely, yeah. Just 3 things that you're grateful for from the day. The writing, get it out, because as you start to write, it kind of clears out your head. You know, it clears out how you're feeling because you're expressing it, and in a way you're being creative with it as well. You know, you're not. And we all kind of need that, really. We all need to express ourselves. I think we all need to feel heard and feel seen, and that is a big thing. And to flip the fear and to turn it on its head and to kind of put it out there, because fear just wants you to stay fearful. You know, it's a trap. So get it out there, like go on the other side of it, flip it over. For me, talking about my experience and my journey and my stories of, my brother passing and losing work and issues with alcohol and substance. They are situations that kept me locked in a certain mindset and a certain place where I wouldn't allow myself to move forward from it, because I was stuck there. So actually allowing myself to do stuff like this and allowing myself to go out and connect with people and to create.
Allowing yourself to be happy and not feel bad about being happy.
Yeah. And in turn, I've created a fantastic movement with wonderful people that have got involved and have backed it, and I have their voice as part of it, and I'm able to create and produce beautiful work that I'm really proud of. And then COVID hit and everybody had felt anxiety and depression and fear. So it's like, well, this is something that can actually help now as well, properly. So it's very important.
Oh, well, Louis, you've been doing such amazing work, and we're all going to benefit from it. So thank you so much. Please do keep going.
Thanks so much for your time as well, and for helping share the message with Hairdressers General. It's much appreciated. It's great to be on.
It's a fantastic message to share, Louis. So yeah, please do keep us updated, and
will do
on his social channels and check out his website. I'll let you say it again, Louis.
I can, I am, and I will.com.
Perfect.
And as soon as I've got a date, you've got it. You can have the date as soon as I've got it. It's coming, I promise.
Follow those tips in the meantime, guys.
Yeah, and also, if you go on the website, there is a section for the B plan, which is the Breathe, Break, Boost, Believe. I've got tons of posters that I've had made for that. So if you would like me to send you out a set of posters for your salon to put up in the staff room, to put up wherever, really, just to kind of help share that message and those positive impacts, then please, there's a link where you can register and leave your details, and I'll get them sent out.
That's fantastic, because even just seeing those positive words up on a poster, all of that just makes such a difference, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Getting it into your mind over and over again.
Yeah, it's mindset. It's a way you have to train it. It's like your body, like when you start working out or running or whatever, or you can build something to be stronger. You can build your mind to be stronger, and you can really kind of adjust where it goes.
Yeah. Definitely. Oh, well, thank you so much, Louis, and we're all going
Thank you.
Watching closely and to find out more about the empowerment movement, but lots of great advice there, so we're really super grateful.
Amazing. Thanks so much.
Cheers, Louis. Speak to you soon.
Bye.